Before we begin, I want to say a very huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. We are currently over 1K subscribers in a space of 4 months. I started this YouTube channel 6 months ago, but it only became active 4 months ago. That's when I started uploading videos. So whether you're watching us from Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, the UK, the US, wherever you're watching us from, I'm really grateful. Thank you for being part of this journey. My name is Flavia. I'm a poultry farmer, and I started this YouTube channel mainly to share poultry farming experiences, to bridge the information gap. So many beginner farmers were starting this without the right information, to also learn myself, because there is a lot I learned from your comments, and to also help farmers avoid making costly mistakes in poultry farming. Speaking of costly mistakes, in today's video, I'm sharing 10 mistakes, 10 that delay egg production in layers. Stay tuned because there is a lot to learn.
Morning comes too early, hands already warm, working for a better day, trying to keep me warm. Bossman count his tally, we just count our turn. Fair don't come easy, I had to stand and...
So mistake number 1 is buying poor quality chicks. When you get chicks from poor breeders or hatcheries, they always have poor genetics. And no matter what you do, no matter how good you take good care of them, no matter what you feed them, they always have that delayed maturity. So before you buy chicks, do the due diligence. Have proper reviews from fellow farmers. Look for reputable suppliers. I don't know if you've realized, but whenever chicks are scarce in the country, especially the layer chicks, usually what we get on the market for day-old chicks are usually poor quality chicks. You realize that we are just given anything because they are scarce and we are always desperate. We just take. But you rather be patient and wait till that reputable supplier, if they've given you a date, to give you at the date they promised to give you chicks, rather than taking chicks at the date that you really want them and they disturb you. You invest a lot of money in them, but they don't grow really well. They start laying really late. They disturb you, the mortalities. So I know very many experienced farmers have this saying in my local language which says zona nkoko, but honestly speaking, zona si nkoko. If you've tried different breeds or different suppliers, you will know that zona si nkoko. So do the due diligence when buying day-old chicks. Make sure you buy from reputable hatcheries, reputable breeders, people who have a name to protect. Get good reviews, like look for reviews from fellow farmers who have tried those breeds and they've worked for them. Make sure you get good quality chicks. A good quality chick is really easy to manage, but a poor quality chick, no matter what you do, they will lay really late. By the time you watch this video, my growers, these ones, will be 20 weeks old, and they started laying 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we saw the first egg at exactly 18 weeks. Congratulations to me. Another mistake to avoid is poor brooder management. While brooding, most of us, almost farmers, beginner farmers, their focus is usually on controlling mortalities, and if they're able to control mortalities in those first 4 weeks, they think, oh yeah, I've really done it well. But with brooder management, mortalities is not the only thing you should look out for. When you overcrowd your chicks at that stage, when you don't give them the proper heats, you know, we give them heat for a reason. Not that heat also helps them in the laying stages. When you don't give them the proper heats, when you overcrowd them, when you don't give them the right feed, when you don't give them clean drinkers, clean feeders at that stage, it catches up on those birds in the laying period. They start laying really, really late. I don't know, like their growth becomes stunted at that stage. So make sure you manage your birds really well in the brooder, and if you manage them really well in the brooder, trust me, they will start laying at the right age, which is usually 16 to 18 weeks. And another mistake is underfeeding your birds before they start laying. Layers need proper nutrients for them to reach their target body weight. So when you give them less feeds before they start laying, you might think you're saving, but then they're not going to reach the required body weight. And when they don't reach that required body weight, they will not lay, they will start laying over. They will start laying when they are almost above 20 weeks, and you won't be saving anything because you've given them less feeds, but you'll have to give them those feeds for them to reach the required body weight for them to start laying. I was recently talking to someone who told me that they have a vet who told them that you don't have to measure feed for chicks unless they're above 10 weeks. Oh my God, that was very wrong advice. You need to get a feeding table and give your birds the proper amount of feed they're supposed to eat. We calculate feed weekly. We calculate those grams for each bird weekly. So if you underfeed your birds, trust me, they will start laying really, really late. Usually, before the birds start laying, you might think, oh, because they're not laying, I'm not getting eggs out of them, I can just give them any feed which is available, any feed I can afford to give them. But I always tell beginner farmers is before you buy these chicks or before chicks get to the farm, sit down and calculate the amount of feed you need from day one to point of production, and be sure that you can afford that feed before the birds get to the farm. Because if you underfeed these birds at that stage, still it stunts their growth. In my local language, it's called zikona. Muvamu obukoko obukona. Like they don't grow really well. They remain at that stage. They may even never lay. So the fourth mistake is feeding your birds the wrong feed at the wrong age. I'll give an example. You will find birds that are over 1 month and someone is still feeding them chick mash. Like that chick mash is not helping them build the muscles or build the body. And in the end, they will have delayed production. They will start laying really, really late. Or you will find someone that birds are still under 1 month, but you're giving them very big particles of food and they are just wasting this feed. They are just putting it on the ground because they cannot swallow it, they cannot digest it. So in the end, you're saying, I give them feed. I gave them the right quantity of feed, but they still started laying really late. Yes, you gave them the right quantity of feed, but you gave them wrong feed. Another example, you will find birds that are below 2 months and someone is mixing a lot of lime for them. These birds that are below 2 months, they don't need that too much calcium. What they need at that stage is mainly proteins, energy, and just a little calcium. So feeding the wrong type of feed at the wrong age directly affects the birds. They start laying really late. Make sure that you're feeding birds the right type of feed they're supposed to feed for that age. Another mistake is feeding your birds with poor quality feeds. What happens is usually before birds get into production and we're not getting money out of them, you might be tempted to just feed them anything which is available because you feel like they're not bringing back your money at that point. But if you give your birds poor quality feed, trust me, they will start laying really, really late. You might see the first egg at week 22 or week 23. So even if the bag says growers mash or chick mash, check for the nutrients there. Are they the proper nutrients that are needed for that stage? Make sure you're giving your birds proper, good quality feed. Make sure you're giving them dry, let the maize be dry. Let the proteins, like these things that we get on the markets, so many proteins like the soya, the sunflower, the fish. Make sure you're giving them things that are of good quality and things that have not just been picked anyhowly. That way, your birds will start laying at the correct age and at the right time. But if you give them poor quality feed, you will have to wait and wait and wait because the birds will not grow really well. Now, another mistake is overcrowding. That's the sixth mistake you should avoid. Before you buy birds or before you buy chicks, first call a vet to calculate for you. We are usually told that for layers, we need, is it 6 birds per square meter? When you overcrowd your birds, there's going to be a lot of competition. There's going to be a lot of survival for the fittest, for the drinkers, for the feeders. So you will find that some birds are not able to eat very well or to even drink. They're always taking leftovers. That percentage of birds will lay really, really late. They will lay really, really late. They will not lay at the right time because they've been struggling to find feed. They've been struggling to find water. So don't just, because you have a structure, don't just think to yourself that, oh, with this structure, I can just put in any number. Call a vet or someone who has a knowledge of this to make for you proper measurements. And for the birds to have even growth, like for them to grow at the same pace, there shouldn't be any competition. So make sure you're not overcrowding your birds. When you overcrowd your birds, definitely, most definitely, they will lay really, really late. Now, another mistake is not treating diseases. Before birds start laying, usually farmers, our focus, in case birds get sick, is mortality still, and are they able to eat or are they able to drink? And sometimes if birds fall sick and you don't see any mortalities, you might be prompted not to treat. You're doing a mistake. Whenever you get these disease challenges, make sure you treat. Because I'll give an example, like coccidiosis. Coccidiosis might attack your birds, and honestly, you might never get any mortality if it's not so severe. But if you don't treat it, some of these birds might, what is it called? They might become carriers of this virus. I'm not a vet, but I know. These birds will become carriers of that virus, and that virus will delay their production. Here at the farm with this particular batch, these layers of mine, that started laying recently. I didn't experience coccidiosis, like the disease itself did not attack me. But month 1, I gave contra medicine for coccidiosis. And month 2, I did the same thing for coccidiosis. So make sure you're treating these diseases. Make sure you're treating these diseases to the maximum. That way your birds will start laying on time. But if you don't control the diseases, if you don't treat them well, your birds will start laying really late. Another mistake is failure to follow the vaccination program. Please, 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 please don't ignore the vaccination program. Please ask your supplier, ask your breeder to give you the proper vaccination guide for the birds that you've been given. Every breed or every hatchery has their vaccination guide depending on the mother breed or depending where these birds have been got from. When you ignore the vaccination guide, it's going to catch up with these birds in the production stage. They might start laying really late because their vaccines you have skipped. I know of a farm, it had got birds and it was supposed to vaccinate typhoid twice as per the vaccination guide. But because this farmer had kept different breeds on the farm, and with those different breeds, the vaccination guide was saying typhoid is vaccinated once. So he was following only one vaccination guide for whatever breed he was bringing on the farm. Yet each breed is supposed to have its vaccination guide. And for him, he was following his Ngayakwata. That's what I can say. How do I say this in English? Like this person was fixated on just one vaccination guide, not knowing that each breed or hatchery is supposed to have its own vaccination guide. So what happens? This person did not vaccinate typhoid for the second time. And when typhoid hit, it actually hit at the stage where those birds were supposed to start laying. he tried doing everything you can think of, like everything you can think of to treat the typhoid, but it failed. He ended up losing the entire flock, the whole of it. Like he even had to just burn the dead bodies because of that typhoid. So take the vaccination guide seriously and be very intentional. Ask this breeder to give you the proper vaccination guide for that bird. When some birds are taken in the lab, you're actually told that this bird, you were supposed to vaccinate it E. coli. But when you see the vaccination guide you are given, if you're getting from people who are not reputable, you see they're giving you these normal usual vaccination guides, and they're not giving you the vaccination which is showing E. coli as per what you're supposed to vaccinate that breed. So following the vaccination guide will be of really good help. Another mistake is inadequate lighting. Lighting also delays laying. There is a way light stimulates these hormones that helps birds start production. What we do on the farm with the lighting, how do I explain this? When birds make 15 weeks, we start putting on the night light again. We put it on from 7 to around 9, sometimes 10, just to stimulate them. Like we start giving them more hours of actual light to stimulate the hormones. When you give them inadequate lighting, like if your birds are in a house which is a bit dark, not enough light, and then in the night you're not giving them proper light, like it delays production, it delays laying. Lighting is a stimulator. Lighting is a stimulator for laying, but please don't do it when birds are really young, like 14 weeks, 15 weeks, because when they start laying at that stage, they're going to experience things like prolapse. Actually, we start putting on those lights in the night. We start extending the lighting program at around 16 weeks, not 15 weeks. We do it at 16 weeks because from 10 weeks to 15 weeks, they're sleeping in total darkness. But when they make 16 weeks, we start putting on the lights again from 7 to 9 or to 10, and then we switch off and they rest, because light stimulates the hormones that help them get into production. Now, another mistake that delays egg production is stress. If your birds are always stressed, if you've stressed them with a lot of things, they will delay production. They will start laying really late. They will start laying really late. Stress comes from things like still overcrowding. If you're overcrowding them, if you're overchanging them from a different house to another house, you're always changing them from this house to another house, it's going to stress them. If you're overgiving them antibiotics unnecessarily, it's going to stress them. If the noise, like a lot of sudden noise on the farm, it's going to stress them. If there is a lot of heat stress in the house where they are, it's going to stress them. They are going to start laying really, really late. Some of them might even never lay if they are always stressed. So please make sure that the stress on the farm is always minimal. Make sure that the stress on the farm is minimal. Like control the predators. Make sure you have enough airflow in the house. Don't overcrowd your birds. Give them feed at the right time. Actually, when you be changing the feeding timetable of the birds, it stresses them. Give them feed at the right time. Like, make sure you're not stressing them in any way. When birds are not stressed at all, they start laying at the right time. They start laying at the right time and they be on the peak for a very long time. So as you can see, there are very many things that can delay production. There are very many things that can delay production in layers. But if you get good quality chicks and you follow through all this what I've mentioned, your birds will start laying on time and you will have nothing to regret. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. May the good Lord bless you. Bye-bye.